Right. So you have, I think it's like 9 maybe green highlighted areas you're gonna have to fill in. Right, 4 for Zimbabwe, 5 for Zambia. So it's really not that difficult. Right, just make sure you're following along. There's just 2 slides per country. I just want to make sure we've covered these. Because this will be our last week. We're just focusing on the continent of Africa. Next week, we're going to look at the Middle East and North Africa, okay, with the Arab Springs, which most people don't know what that is, but we're going to talk about it so you understand the transition to democratic governments. Right. So let's start. All right. Zimbabwe, okay, located in southern Africa, just above the country of South Africa. All right. Like most countries in this region, there we have the presidential republic. Just means that the president is elected by the population, by the citizens who vote. Right? That's what republic means. Republic means elected official from the population. Right? Zimbabwe does have just one capital city. If you are researching South Africa, the country, they have 3 capitals, which is kind of odd, but each city has a responsibility. Zimbabwe just has one, Harare, which is the largest city and also the biggest attraction for tourism, besides for the ecotourism side of it. Okay? This is a pretty new country. Okay? Just created in 1980. That's when their independence was. When they became independent from the United Kingdom, right? Just like most countries in Southern Africa, the United Kingdom colonized this area, okay? So that's where they're going to get their independence from. Now, Zimbabwe didn't always used to be called Zimbabwe. When it was first established as a country, okay, it was called Rhodesia. Okay? So I don't expect you to even heard of that name unless you are really well versed in Zimbabwean history, but Rhodesia is after Cecil Rhodes. Anybody know who Cecil Rhodes is? Okay, and I don't expect you to. In a normal year, we would talk about all these things, but Cecil Rhodes was from the UK. He took advantage of colonization. Okay, he made a lot of money off of colonization. All right, but what he did was he connected South Africa to North Africa in terms of communication lines, okay, telegraph lines. All right, and the Zimbabwe country that we know today was named after Cecil Rhodes, okay, calling it Rhodesia. All right, and they slowly transitioned to Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, and then finally they made it just Zimbabwe, okay, making it their own. But if you ever hear of Rhodesia, that's the area we're talking about. Citizens is kind of odd, all right? You definitely want to be married when you have children, okay? Just so that it's there's less steps to take in order for your child to be a citizen. It's not like the United States. In the United States, if you have a child that's born here, it's a citizen, okay? No matter what. Okay? It's not the case in Zimbabwe. All right, you got to have either a father, okay? If the father's not married to the mother, okay, the mother needs to be a citizen in order for that child to become a citizen. Right? Now, the issue for Zimbabwe and why they don't have a very high GDP is this right here. Okay, almost 70% of jobs come from the agricultural sector. Okay, now agriculture, can make you a lot of money, but you better be the person that owns the land and not just someone who works the land. Okay? So this agriculture is not going to provide just an abundance of money. Right? It's going to be a select few who get that abundance of money, and then the workers of the land will make hopefully enough to survive. Okay? All right, next slide. We have language, religion, literacy, and then problems. Right? Every country has problems, just a matter of what they are. Okay, now, Zimbabwe has like 15 or 16 official languages, and that's not the case. Like the United States, we have one, English. Okay, Zimbabwe, they're not the same. All right, Shona is definitely the majority of the country in terms of what they speak, but in terms of like international business and things of that sort, that's going to be English. Okay? And that's like many other countries. If you're dealing with another person that doesn't speak your native language, most likely the main form of communication is going to be English. Right? Not all the time, but usually. All right? We're in Southern Africa, so this shouldn't be a surprise. 85% are Christian. If it was in Northern Africa, what religion would it most likely be? Islam. Okay? It'd probably be Muslim. All right? Again, just the divide of religion. All right? And in the middle, okay, you have a good mixture between Islam and Christianity. Now, the source of problems, South Africa has some very unhealthy demands. All right? And that's putting it lightly. Okay? There's a strong demand for illicit drugs. Okay? Heroin and methamphetamines are the top two. But also sex trafficking and forced labor are also very popular along the border between Zimbabwe and South Africa, as well as Mozambique. So that's an issue. The thing that I find most troubling is, yes, you have these issues in every country. You're going to have drugs, you're going to have sex trafficking, you're going to have some type of slavery. Every country is going to have it. Okay, but it's a matter of if you're trying to address it and decrease the rate. That's the troublesome part. That Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Mozambique put very little money towards fixing that problem. All right. Zambia. Zambia is just north of Zimbabwe. Okay. Again, presidential republic. Okay. They are actually transitioning into a new capital. Right. Basically to help centralization. Okay. That's the main reason for it. Again, independence was in the mid 1900s. Okay, in '64. We got to understand. Yes, a lot of these countries struggle with growing their economy, but you also have to take into account they've only been independent for 50 years. Okay? Did the United States get it right the first time? No. What did they put into place right at first? In terms of their rule of law, what was that called? That wasn't the first thing.
I know.
Anybody remember what the document was called before the Constitution? Articles of Confederation. All right. So the Articles of Confederation was the first legal document the United States put in place, besides the Declaration of Independence. Obviously, that has to happen first. All right. But the Articles of Confederation was a complete disaster. Nothing got done. I mean, it was all about state power, and every state did their own thing. It was just not a good system to operate a government. All right. That goes on for a couple decades, and then we finally figure out this sucks. Nothing gets done. So they rewrite it, establish the Constitution, and that's been in place ever since. All right, but I mean, it took the United States quite a bit of time to get things figured out as well. And then it took another 100 years to get their economy going. I mean, it was a process. So expecting Zambia or Zimbabwe to just have a perfect economy right away is just unrealistic. Right, so take into account when these countries came independent as well. Right. Now, this is a little bit better in terms of the way the economy is broken down, but your agriculture, you would hope, is a little bit bigger than that. Hopefully, maybe closer to 20%. Because if you only have 7%, of your economy is agriculture, you're going to have to import food. Okay? And importing food is you can do it, but if you hit a year where the country that you're importing food from has a drought, you got to find all of a sudden a different spot to get your food. If you can't, you're going to have people starving. All right. Last information slide. Okay. Zambia is not really a dominant English-speaking country. I mean, there is some English-speaking going on, but not nearly as much as the three I listed above. And again, same thing. English is used normally in business-related affairs. Christianity, again, 95%, even larger percentage than Zimbabwe. Both of them have pretty good education systems. It's just a matter of a lot of people that are being educated and becoming literate are living in the cities, whereas the countryside, the rural areas are not being educated very well. Right. Now, the access to electricity, 37%, that's pretty terrible. Nope, I'll go back. It's pretty terrible, to be completely honest. All right. They do have a couple dams to create hydroelectric power. The issue becoming is you have to actually build the infrastructure to transport this power to everyone in the country. And if you don't do that, well, then your percentage is going to stay low, right? So you can't just provide electricity to the capital city, right, where most of it goes. You have to provide infrastructure for the entire country. So that's the problem. That's tough to do because it takes money in order for that to happen. Right? The biggest dam is the Kariba Dam. All right, I'll show you the river that fuels the dam there, and then there's your top two trade partners. Okay, the top tourist destination beyond the capital is ecotourism. Okay, this is called Victoria Falls. All right, in terms of width, okay, it's the widest waterfall in the world. Now that's pretty cool. It's all of a sudden just drops off, okay, and then it funnels the river, okay, snaking its way through. Now, if you go down farther, okay, you can imagine this picture extends this way, okay, that's where you find the Kariba Dam. Okay, so this river that you see here actually funnels into the dam, okay, and then hydroelectric power is then cultivated off that. Okay. Now you can see they have built some spots for tourist destinations. Okay, you see the buildings here, along here, okay. Over here, some building structures. Down here, you can park. Okay, so there are obvious areas where people can stop and go look at this. Okay, you have to pay money most times. One thing, since this is a national park, I'll show you. Okay, this is a national park on both sides. This is Zambia over here. Over here is Zimbabwe. Okay. Now, right here in the center, we have what's called Devil's Pool. Okay, Devil's Pool is a top, for people that love to travel and do the nature stuff. Okay, like this would be. Devil's Pool is kind of a hot spot for those type of people. It's supposed to be in myth and legend, like the spot where good and evil meet. That's urban legend, but yeah, that's called Devil's Pool. All right, people can swim throughout here. They allow you to. All right, obviously you have to pay to get in the park, but like you see a lot of pictures where people will come right to the edge and look down. People love the adrenaline rush, I'm sure. So, yeah, pretty cool spot. Okay, but again, this is ecotourism. Okay, an attraction to the environment. Okay, again, these are national parks, so it's protected. But yeah, source of money for both countries. Got it. All right, do I need to go back to any of the slides to fill out? Amy, good? Good. Okay, slide? Okay. Patty, good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, those are going to Google Meet. Do I need to go back to any of those slides? All right, if you need them, I'm going to put them in the chat. There you go. All right. You are all done. Turn those in. Okay. Go ahead and submit those. Okay. And then we're going to talk about your assignment from yesterday if you haven't quite gotten that done or were not here in either the Google Meet or in class yesterday. So what we talked about yesterday is the countries of Africa slide. Okay, if you open that up, you're gonna need to open up the link, the example, and the countries of Africa in a new window. And this should be blank. If you opened up the link, you should have seen this and my example that I created. Now, the first thing you need to do is you need to choose a country from the top list here. Okay? The reason why I gave you a list is some countries don't report their data, very often. So, like sometimes you'll see data from 2010. That's like 11 years ago, so it's a little outdated now. Right? So, choose one from up here. Okay, all the information and images need to go on one slide. Okay, and if you heard this explanation yesterday, you can keep working. All right. So, what I would suggest doing, let's say you chose, Libya. Now you're going to go to World Factbook. Right here, this blue link. Maybe, there we go. And we said we chose Libya, so it starts with an L. With Libya. And the first thing it asks for is government type. So we scroll down, you're going to click on government. Okay. Government type is in transition. So whenever it says in transition and it's in a northern government, a northern country in Africa, it's in transition to democracy. And it used to be a dictatorship, it's transitioning to a democracy. All right. If you want to know more about that, that's next week. That's called the Arab Springs, the transition to democracy. All right. You have your capital city. You might have to look up some things in Google search, but for the most part, all the required information will be in World Factbook. All right. All that information needs to go on the slide. Where did I put this? There we go. And on this slide, if you don't know how to make a text box, you're just going to hit the T, click here, all right, and then you can put in your required information. All right. For the flag, you tell me what the flag means, okay, and provide a picture. I definitely would use World Factbook for that. Okay, you go up to the top, okay, country flag, hit view details. Well, there's Libya's flag. Copy and paste that, put on your slide, and then this is the explanation of what it means. Okay, obviously don't just copy and paste this, but read through it. Okay, tell me what each part means, the colors and the symbol. Put that on your slide, please. Just like what I did. Okay, I have my list of information at the top left. Here's what the flag means. I've got the name of the country that I researched on. I've got my pictures over here and my picture of my flag. Okay. And please make sure, some people are forgetting to submit this. Okay. Over here, once you're done with the entire slide, click on submit. If it has changed to or from submit to share, just exit out of it. Over here, hit refresh, load it again, and then the submit button should reappear. And if you have trouble with that, let me know. Okay. Once we're done with this slide, we're checking on our grades. Okay. So, then you go to first period, that's why. So if we go to my grades, all right. So for these, like if they say missing, but I have a score in here, I've obviously completed them. Okay, so just ignore this missing portion. All right. Now, if there's a little document picture of a piece of paper, that means I've turned it in. I personally haven't graded it. Okay. And then if it's a dash, that means you just haven't submitted it. Okay, which means it's missing. Okay, even if it doesn't say missing, and there's not a score or a piece of paper there, it means you need to do it. Okay? Like for me, I need to complete the Ed puzzle over Nigeria, and then I need to do the 2 things for this week. All right? Any questions on that? Okay. You have 50 minutes. Okay, that's about what I was trying to give you anyways. All right, so you got 50 minutes to complete your slide. Okay, for this. Complete your slide. All of your information and pictures go on one slide. Make sure the pictures are not blurry and they actually represent the information. Okay. I would do your research first and then find pictures that your research is about. Okay. Complete the research on the flag, get all that on the slide, get pictures, submit, and then check for missing work. Okay, I have emailed you if you have missing work from me, and you are just a strictly online student. Okay. If you are here, I have given you a piece of paper that you need to complete. Okay, so